Thank you so much to my mother, my upline. She's here with me. Can you stand up, please, Mom? And wave. Thank you so much to my brother Marcel, Crown Ambassador Marcel Ho, for inviting me today. I never thought in my life that I would talk on stage on MCA Hall. So, you see Amway, you see everything, right? Thank you so much. And I love this topic because I really believe that family, I don't know why this is not working. AB? Okay, hang on. Okay, there you go. Okay, I really believe that family is your source of power. So like you charge your phone in the plug point, family gives you strength, gives you courage, gives you that boost of energy. And it is actually my life experience. Now I feel very blessed that 7 years ago, I gave birth to a Down syndrome boy. And although I'm very happy with what's happened now, at that time, I was very scared. I did not know what is Down syndrome. A lot of scary words came to my mind. Intellectual disability, stupid, slow. I was very depressed. Thankfully, Diamond Direct Dr. Ali and Eliza came to see me at my house. They are good friends and also Founders Platinum Rahayu. Are you here? Puan Rahayu? Yes? I think I saw her. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So they advised me to bring my son to Kiwanis, which is a Down syndrome center at 4 months. And at 1 year old, he was still crawling around. I did not know whether he would walk or he would talk. So to get from this scary start, because you know a Down syndrome kid doesn't look like the normal neurotypical kid. If you were a mom, you would be a little bit frightened. Okay, to get him from this point to an inclusive kindergarten to now an inclusive primary school has been quite a journey. So the little boy that couldn't walk and couldn't talk could finally walk. He can scoot. In fact, he learned how to scoot himself. He learned how to communicate. This is us in the farm in the city where he was telling me what animal he is looking at. To a boy with a viral video, 11,600 views. Yeah. So we learned something from Diamond Tira in TikTok. And he is telling me why he had to reorganize my living room. Okay? He's 7 years old. They are Down syndrome children in teenage years that can't talk like this. Okay? And to a boy that can read. So how did this come about? Is a lot of time and a lot of money. Thankfully, because of the MBA business, we could afford both. Yes. So this is physiotherapy. This is occupational therapy, where you actually learn the basic skills of life. And this is oral motor therapy, where you learn how to eat and how to talk. So everything that we take for granted, that we can do so easily, is a milestone. It's very difficult for them. This is hippotherapy, where you have therapy in horses, and this is hydrotherapy. I think the best of all therapies for me, because I love to swim, and now Aaron also loves to swim. But then in those very early years, when I wasn't sure what's going to happen, two family members powered me through to make everything seem like it wasn't so frightening and so difficult. First is my husband, Shukran. So he really, really loves my both boys, unconditionally. I remember the first night I had to express milk into a little tiny cup, and the cup spilled and dropped on the floor. So and then I started crying, really crying over spilled milk. Okay. But he said, it's okay, you just pick it up and you try it again. And because of that, I felt that from the start, I wasn't alone. And the second person in my family that walked me through this journey was my son, Abel. He cut me a lot of slack in those days. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Iman. He was 4 years old, but he stayed very calm and cool throughout my many outbursts, because it's always something surprising, something new, something different with the Down syndrome kid. You just have to be very aware and very on your toes. It's not something that you can ever prepare yourself for. But he took me through that first year. As I said, I was very depressed. For 2 months, I did not do the business. But I had promised him that I would take him to see snow. Coincidentally, that year, we announced the ALS Hokkaido, that we could bring our family. And I saw a picture of Hannah with EDC Wayne. It was spur of the moment. She said, Daddy, I want to see snow, and shh, they went to see snow. So I promised myself, I too would bring my son to see snow. So I promised him. So if you ask me, how did I do the 30,000 ALS point, being depressed, having a Down syndrome kid, I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly. But I can tell you one thing. If you promise your loved one something, you will find a way to do it, right? Yeah. So qualify we did, and these are our ski coaches at Rususu Resort in Hokkaido. And you all who have been to the ALS, here? MW Leadership Seminar. Anybody? All the people in front of me? You would know that this is the breakfast table, right? And we would always have a nice room, a nice hall that they will book for us. And this was where I had breakfast with my son. We didn't take many pictures then because we were still in shock and we were mourning. About 2 months prior, my father had left us. So we expected him to be at this trip. And Amway, being the company that it is, upgraded my mother, upgraded me and my son to business class. We flew business class so that we could be together with her, and we stayed in the diamond suite together with her. This is the company that you are going to partner with. It will treat you and your family like you have never been treated by anyone before. So I still remember Mike Dong was with us almost all the time. He knew my father very well, and he took care of me and my mom, and even Abel very well. If Abel wanted to go to the toilet, because we were all girls, right? He took Abel to the toilet. Okay, MD CEO of Amway Malaysia and other countries. So I think maybe some of you are wondering, what does happen to the second generation? What happens when one parent passes away? So in my case, my father left a will. And in the will, he stipulated that I was the successor to his business. So Amway adopted me seamlessly. There was no questions asked. And in 2019, when it was time to go to the A60, I was taken in as my mother's partner. So this is me being sent off to Las Vegas by my children. Abel didn't look so happy. But even on the screen, my name was there as my mother's partner. This was Lady Gaga's concert. Okay, together with EDC Michael Poi and Li Hua. And this was a buka puasa feast. So it so happens that that month that we went to Las Vegas was the fasting month. And I tell you, you can feel every cell in your throat when you fast in the desert. It was so dry. But this is the kind of experience that I don't think you will get anywhere except for Amway, right? Yes. Thank you very much. And of course, being A60, we were literally showered with gifts. I really don't think that you want to miss A70, which is Amway's 70th anniversary, because the treatment, I'm sure, will be 10 times better than this. Okay? So even if you are just new here, you still have time. You still have time to understand the business and grow it quickly and qualify for the A70. We got to meet very, very important people. We got to meet my father's Taiwan leaders, headed by Dr. Chu and Kim. I've never met them before, and this was such a great opportunity to get to know them. We met my father's Thailand leaders, and headed by Mr. Lee Tong Kiong and Linda. I don't know, maybe if Chris has met some of his leaders, because his group has grown extremely big. But I want to talk a little bit about Mr. Lee. He went to Thailand. He's from Malaysia. He was actually doing quantum chemistry together with my father in University Malaya. My father introduced him the business. He saw the potential. He wanted to go overseas to build a business. He went when Thailand opened. And he went without being able to speak Thai. Dia tak boleh cakap Thai, tapi dia pergi ke Thailand untuk membina bisnes. Bayangkan. Right? And he didn't know that many people in Thailand. But yet, he stayed there when many, many leaders left. He stayed there for 5 years, being away from his family, and that's why his business is over 200 million this year. So I would like to invite all of us to maybe have him in our mind. When you're facing challenges, the little challenges that you face in this business. When your group PV is not 21%, when your prospects say no to you, those little challenges. At that time, why don't we all stop and think about this man who had so much courage, who did so much, also the same reason as you and me, to take care of his family. But in the beginning, I don't think my father realized how big his group would become, how big his business would be. And this is me with my mother, and of course, our mentor, Crown Ambassador, Mr. Fu Hocken. He hasn't aged very much because I think he uses a lot of artistry and Nutrilite also. But in those days, my father did exactly the same thing as us. He had house meetings. He had the projector with the little projector slides, that you have to make manually. And he had the screen. It was so difficult then. But he believed, and they succeeded. So this was them in 1984, becoming diamond. And you can see behind Behan's mom and dad. With Behan's mom and dad. Are you here, Behan? Yeah, this is a very classical, very cherished picture. And my father believed a lot in the partnership. He believed a lot in Rich Divorce and J. Vendel, the founders of Amway. And believe it or not, this is Rich Divorce taking a picture of my parents. Right? So humble and so approachable. It's amazing. Amazing. The leader of a multi-million-dollar company. And so warm, hugging my mom. My mother cannot remember what is it that he said to, what she said to Rich Divorce, but I believe it must have been something good here lah. Right? A very precious picture. And rarely in the later years did you see my father smile quite like this and take this kind of pictures. So my father did the business primarily because of his belief in the values in Rich and Jay, but also to bring his sweetheart traveling. Because my mother lives for traveling. She basically lives from one travel to the other. Okay? And even though my father did not like traveling, I think he was the happiest when he made my mother happy. Yes. It's true. And although they started very humbly, in a very small house in Petaling Jaya, we managed to salvage some notes, some precious notes of his. In fact, my husband Shukran lovingly took many of the things that were going to be thrown away. These precious notes that he wrote when he was a direct distributor, platinum. And when you read it, you can already see the leader in him. It was very obvious. So he said that you have to have a sense of direction. Amway all the way, talk nothing else. If you ever met him, you know 100% true. Self-discipline, so that others can depend on you. And he said about being punctual and keeping to your words. He said about the sense of responsibility to your downline, upline, and family. Not much point if you are successful in Amway, but you lose your family. He wrote about how to command respect and how to have dignity. And he wrote about being firm but pleasant, to uphold the code of ethics and rules of conduct. So this was a great leader in the process of becoming someone who influenced a lot of people. And at that point, he actually noticed a lot of upcoming leaders as well. As I wrote to Wayne, he had some notes on him too. So now you see the result, right? Okay. So in becoming diamond, my father left some clues as to what we need. He said we need some very important 3 things. One is a burning desire, and I must admit, not many people have that. 2, we need a plan, and we need the tools. And 3, we need to work hard and pay the price, which I also can tell you a lot of people are not willing to do that. But he had a vision. So when they became diamond, when they eventually became diamond, he wrote that his children can now be developed to become DD, or what was platinum then, and they would qualify as double diamond. So I promise that we will soon make this a reality. So I am proud to say that I am one of his diamond legs. I also contribute to his GAR. And I'm so grateful that they took me to their rallies and their events, because I think a lot of that triggered something in me. And I always wanted to make them proud. That's why I qualified for all the travel seminars. It drove me then, and it still drives me now. But my goal is also to bring my sweetheart traveling, because Shukran also loves to travel, and he loves me when we travel, because I'm holiday Nazlee. At home, Nazlee is not so nice, she's nagging, she's anal, she can be a bit of a pain. But holiday Nazlee is very chill. She doesn't care so much whether you eat healthy and all that. So he loves holiday Nazlee. Now we get to bring our sweethearts traveling, our 2 boys. So this was, of course, Osaka. As you know, what Tira told you just now, it was a fantastic, fantastic trip that Amway really outdid themselves. It was better than most of the ALS that we've been to in terms of the scale of what they had to do to get us into Universal Studios. And this was our cash-in-lieu trip to Dubai. So even if you don't want to travel, you still get the money. And now, my son Abel gets to bring his sweetheart traveling, because he's actually a very good companion for my mother, because he's about the right size for a tongkat, and he loves the same thing as his grandma. They love coffee and ice cream. Okay, if you want to belanja her, just give her some affogato and she'll be your best friend. Okay? So before I end, I would like to read something that my father wrote. Remember that your influence as a leader rests on the strength of your character, and that if your character is not strong, neither will be the legacy that you leave behind. I ponder on that. And I ponder on that with the group of parents with Down syndrome children that me and some of my leaders are supporting. They are here with me now, and we are trying to support over 160 parents with Down syndrome kids. And some of them tell me, we're going to work hard in the Amway business, we're going to make the income, and we're going to send our kid to a private inclusive school because it is very, very, very expensive. And we're going to make the money and move closer to where the schools are because they are very far and few in between. However, not many parents actually do what they say. And I ponder on what my father said, and I guess for most parts it's because their character is not strong. But what do you do when your character is weak? I think this morning, FCA Chris had already told us, actually, you have to surround yourself with successful people, he said. And if you have no successful people, the successful friends is in a little CD, right? Or whatever it is that you use. You can go into many social media and connect to many Amway friends without even leaving your house. So you are the average of 5 people that you surround yourself with. So now we know one tip to actually build a strong character. Another tip is what my father showed all his life. He was a great reader, and his library was really fantastic. In fact, this was a book that he gave to Mike Dong, Creating Magic by Lee Cockerell. And you just have to ask yourself, what book are you reading now? Is it helping you? Because if it's not helping you, you may be stagnant where you are for a very, very long time. I don't know exactly what Tira did to become diamond in 22 months, but I don't think she was reading rubbish, right? So this is something that all of us can do to create a very strong character. And with that, I want to thank my upline. I want to thank my father, who loved me very much. From the day that I was born to the day that he left me, he left us. I was the last one that he spoke to the night before he left us. And I want you to think that maybe you are here listening to my little story, so that maybe if you are a parent, you may have the opportunity to do what my father did, to change the life of your children, because I think you can see from my little story how his decision to build the Amway business has changed my life. I would never have been able to do what I've done with my son. I've never probably been able to have that much time with him had not my father started this business many years ago. So you can be the person in your family to make that change. And then I pondered as well, do you need children to seriously build this business? And the answer is also no. Because I remember in one of the rallies that I went, you may know Diamond Star Toe. Diamond Star Toe, right? So he told us that he built the business for his mother, to take care of his mother. And it came through in his presentation that really was his driving force. That was the power behind how he achieved his success. So you don't have to have children. You don't even have to be married. You just have to be a son or daughter. And you can promise your mom and you can promise your dad, today, I'm going to make you proud. Can you do that? So thank you very much for listening to my little story. And I pass you back to our fantastic MC of this